Hello folks and welcome on back to the Millennial Bro Kitchen. In the first episode we chopped up a magical pomegranate. But big whoop, right? I can't have that for dinner every night. Well, we're taking the training wheels off for this episode. Barbecue bison pizza, baby. Bison? Yeah, bison. The same stuff that fueled the cowboys back in the day. But we're millennials, so we're throwing it on a pizza. And shout out to Kevin Curry with Fit Man Cook for the recipe. That dude knows his way around the kitchen, and this isn't going to be the first recipe we make of his. And if you have a keen eye, you may be wondering, what is that PBR for? Well, that's for drinking, of course. Let's get cooking. Alright, so step one, get yourself a baking sheet. Line that bad boy with some aluminum foil. That's going to help with some cleanup. Then what you got to do is preheat your oven. Throw that on about 400 degrees. Perfect heat right there. Then another key step, we want to preheat this pan as well, so when you throw the pizza on, it's going to start cooking the bottom as soon as it hits the pan. So go ahead, toss that in, get that pan up to 400 as well. Thing barely fits into my oven, but that's fine. No excuses in the Millennial Bro Kitchen. Alright, next we want to chop up an onion and get the garlic ready. So first let's get this onion. You're only going to need about half of it, so right off the bat, just give it a good slice in half. Take one half, give it to your dog, set it aside for later. Who knows, save it for your recipe tomorrow. That's up to you. Take the tip and the edge off. Gonna clean up the onion like that. Boom. Got a nice clean onion ready for chopping. So what you're going to do here, cut lengthwise. That's going to leave some nice strands for you. As thin as you can safely. Again, no cutting fingers off. That's against the rules. There we go. What you end up with is nice, beautiful pieces like this. That's what you're looking for. So we're going to set these aside for now. Alright, the last of the cutting for this recipe. 1 clove of garlic. I got a whole little head here. So what you want to do, find like a clove, give it a couple slits on either side. Once you do that, it should be pretty easy to break right out. And then here, you have a clove. It's cloaked in a disgusting robe. You want to get rid of this robe on the clove of garlic. So what you do, smash it with your blade, just like such. That's going to make it real easy to just pop the naked clove out. Look at that, beautiful. Again, what you want to do here, cut off the edge of each side and then mince this, which is essentially just rocking your knife. Garlic is, pretty easy to crush up. Can't really do wrong here. Boom, just like that. Got some good minced garlic. It's not perfect, doesn't need to be. But with that, we're done with chopping up the produce. Okay, we're back at the stovetop now. You hit the oven, you hit some chopping, slicing, you're going to hit the stove top. You're basically an Iron Chef after this. So what you want to do, crack the heat. My heat goes from 2 to 10. I'm going to put it on about 4, just past 4, 4.5. Take your bison, get that into the pan. Then start breaking it up. The more you do this, the quicker it's going to cook. Then what you want to do is season it. So we got cumin. Give it some cumin. This is the spice that's going to remind you of some chili. Cayenne pepper. It's going to give it a little bit of heat. So adjust accordingly to your own preferences. If you're not a spicy person, don't put any in. And then for a little bit of smoky kick, I like smoked paprika. I'm going to throw that in as well. Then the last piece I forgot, some black pepper. Just because we didn't have enough spices. Look at that, beautiful, it smells great already. And then, can't forget about the minced garlic we just chopped up. Get some of that in there. Then all you're going to do here is brown this meat. Now if you don't like bison, or you don't think you're going to like bison, you could definitely substitute with ground beef. You know, if you're not a red meat person, you could substitute with some ground turkey. I had an ex-girlfriend. She thought buffalo were cute, so she wouldn't eat this. You know, do whatever meat or non-meat you like here. Not sure what would substitute well with bison, but you know, if you're a non-meat person, you probably have your tricks. All right. So while I brown this, it's getting a little warm in this kitchen. I'm going to need another beer. Right about here is looking pretty good. You can tell the color's changed. It's no longer red pink anymore. It's more of this brownish color. So this is all cooked through. You don't want to overcook it here because it's going to start reabsorbing the fat. So kill the heat. Bring it over to the other side here. Then what you want to do is drain some of this fat. So just kind of take your ladle, you know, push this up here, push some of the meat up, kind of give it a tilt. And then what that's going to do is just, you know, allow all this fat to pool up down at the bottom. Then take yourself, you know, another spoon. Go ahead, just spoon this out by a spoonful while keeping this tilt going. And what you could do is either, you know, spoon it down to the drain with some hot water going. I live in a studio apartment. This isn't my house, so I don't care about the pipes. Wouldn't recommend doing that if you own your house. I don't think it's the best thing for your pipes. What else you could do is spoon it into another container and then kind of throw that in your freezer, and then just kind of throw it out, you know, with your regular garbage. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this fat. Then we're just going to set this off to the side on a different burner that's not on. All right, we got our bison cooked and browned. Now we're going to set up the pizza. So what we have here for the pizza dough is a naan whole grain bread. You can use, you know, whatever naan you like. I prefer the whole grain. You find this in the bread aisle. So get one of those babies set out. Next, barbecue sauce. Hit a base of the barbecue sauce. Give it a nice coating. Then layer some spinach. My local Piggly Wiggly was out of spinach, so I got like a 50-50 spinach green mix. Definitely don't eat the romaine right now because you'll get pregnant and die. Alright, after you got that green layer, it's back to our browned buffalo. Oh, just threw some all over the floor. Get a layer of buffalo. After that, it's time for the onions from earlier. And lastly, we have some goat cheese. This is going to give it a real good tangy flavor. Sprinkle some of that on top. If you're not sure about goat cheese, you can use some feta, maybe even some blue cheese. Hell, cheddar, mozzarella, whatever you're feeling. But trust me on this. If you haven't tried the goat cheese, be a little adventurous here. You can thank me later. Alright, after that, we're going to have to pull our pan, throw this in. Alright, oven's been preheating, should be 400. Our baking sheet should be about 400 as well, so take that out. What you want to do here, hit it with some spray olive oil, or if you got vegetable oil, just give it a quick non-stick coating. And carefully take this beautiful pizza we just made. Carefully. Drop it right on there. You're going to hear some sizzle. That bottom is going to start cooking right away. So what we want to do is get this into the oven. Now you're going to want that at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes, but keep an eye on it. As soon as you start seeing the edges start to brown, that's when it's going to be time for the next step. But in the meantime, finish your beer. Alright, so it's actually been about 14 minutes. My little tiny oven maybe cooks a little bit quicker. That's why I say keep an eye on it. But we're ready for the last little step here. And this one's all about showmanship here. So you can't see, but I can see. We're starting to get some brown coloring on the edges. But what you want to do here, crank the setting on your stove up to broil. And what that does is it sets the top burner onto full blast in your oven. And so what that's going to do is, this is a quick setting. You only want to do this for about 30 seconds to, a minute and a half, something like that. It's a very extreme setting in your oven. But what it's going to do is give you a real nice kind of top glaze to some of those onions. It's going to brown the top of the pizza. And that's a little step that, most people are going to skip, but it's all about the showmanship. If you're cooking this for your date or your parents, you want to show them that you know a little bit of something about cooking. And this is that little extra tip that's going to put it over the edge. Alright, about a minute's passed here. You also want to be careful of not leaving this on the pan too long because, the pan's still hot. You're still cooking the bottom of this pizza. So carefully pull this off. Looking good. You're going to hit it with a couple slices. Then for the last piece of showmanship, we got some Italian seasoning. If you don't have this, that's fine. I'm just being a little extra today. Grab yourself a plate. Look at the bottom of that. Oh shit, lost it. Nice and crispy because we preheated that pan. You don't have no floppy pizza. This is going to hold up. But hey, look at that. Pizza to be proud of. Maybe crack a PBR in celebration. Other than that, enjoy.